It's easy to give up. You know,
Hell
it's
yeah.
easy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. I'm done. I ain't going.
Oh yeah.
I ain't gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I don't feel like going to work. I'm done.
Yeah, man.
It's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
And
95% of our decisions are made by how you feel in the moment. And that is the problem. Do you feel like making that cold call? No, you don't. Do you feel like doing that third set of reps? No, you don't. And if you accept the fact that you may never feel ready and you may never feel motivated and you may never feel courageous, and that's okay, but you can still push yourself forward as you start to see yourself becoming the person that takes action, guess what happens? You build the skill of confidence and courage.
Check this out, it's crazy. Normal job versus side hustle. They both get paid $100, but the normal job gets taxed straight away, whereas the side hustle gets to spend his money. They're both left with this. At this point, the side hustle gets taxed, and at this point, you actually get to spend your money. You're left with this. It's all about when you're taxed, and that's why having a side hustle is so beneficial.
Never be jealous of what God does for somebody else. What God has for you is for you, and He's never gonna deliver your mail to somebody else's house. As a matter of fact, you ought to give God a shout and a praise, because if God blesses your neighbor, it means He's in the neighborhood. And you might say, I might be next.
Poor people say, I can't afford it, I can't do that, I don't have time. Because it's an escape. It's an escape. You know what I mean? It's easy to say, I can't afford it. Oh, I'm too tired. Oh, I can't go to the gym. You know, when you could go to the gym. No, I can't. Truth is, I'm just too lazy to go to the gym.
Every time I've lost, people say, you got to jump right back up. And I disagree with that. After you lose, or when you get knocked down, stay down there for a minute. Understand why you lost. What were the reasons? Why are you down here? Why did you lose? Why did you get knocked down? Because if you just jump right back up, you're going to lose again and again, and you continue going to lose the same way. So every time I lost, I stayed down for a second. But when I stood up, I was different. I was smarter. I was more confident. I was more resilient. So if you lose and you jump right back up and you haven't really changed, really changed from that loss, you're never going to learn from it, and you're never going to really, truly know the unforgiving race to greatness.
If you define your life according to your good days, then you won't have many. Because if you have a good day where you're performing at a high level and then make that your standard, you will feel like a failure most of the time. And when you do have a good day and you're firing on all cylinders and you succeed at everything you're trying to do, your mind won't think of it as a good day. It'll just feel a sense of relief that you got back to the thing you've been calling normal and feel dread for the next day. Because you were probably a bit manic the day you got everything done, so you're going to have to drop the next day and spend a week recovering. You need to write your to-do lists and set your goals based on an actual normal day, or maybe even a bad one. Because most of the time, we aren't doing the best work we can possibly do. And if you make the best day your reference point for average, you will be miserable. But if you surpass your to-do list because you wrote a humble one, you will feel like a badass. And when you feel like a badass, you tend to be enthusiastic and work harder, which means sometimes the way to achieve more is to demand less of yourself.
The greatest people are self-managing. They don't need to be managed. If once they know what to do, they'll go figure out how to do it. They don't need to be managed at all. What they need is a common vision, and that's what leadership is. What leadership is having a vision, being able to articulate that so the people around you can understand it, and getting a consensus on a common vision. We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did.
Scenario: you're 100 years old, lying on a hospital bed. Now close your eyes and really feel it. You're wrinkly, that heartbeat monitor next to you isn't beating super fast anymore, you're close to death. Now keep them closed and imagine your 8-year-old great-granddaughter walks in. She asks how you're doing, to which you respond, pretty good, but Man, what I wouldn't do to trade places with you. I would give up everything I own, even to just go back a few decades. Your great-granddaughter looks at you a little bit confused and says, well, you are still young. You smile and kind of chuckle and say, no, I'm pretty old. Probably don't have too much time left. And she says, no, you're not 100 years old. You're still pretty young. Now you're a bit confused. Again, she says, no, you're very young. Just open your eyes. Just open your eyes. And you open them. You're not 100 years old. You are still young. So do your best to enjoy it while you have the chance.
More people should be leaving their jobs. A lot of people are like, oh, I've been at this job for 7 years. If I leave now, I've given it all up. I'm wasting time. I'm wasting everything. You're not wasting it. Staying in a cancer-filled environment is wasting time. When it's a dead end, it's a dead end. You staying longer doesn't change it being a dead end. You leaving and starting over with the experiences and things you've learned is being on the offense, not giving up. So many people are in these abusive business relationships where they don't want to leave because they think they've given up all the time they've put in. That's like abusive. That's the framework of the abusive nature of it. You need to fucking leave. It was one fucking word to your question.